There are 4 invisible habits that are costing you serious lap time right now, and the scariest part is you probably don't even know that you're doing them. These aren't setup problems, they aren't car problems, these are driver habits. Things that you're doing every single lap that are bleeding tense without giving you any feedback that something's wrong. You finish your session, look at your delta and think, I don't know what else to try. And by the end of this video, you'll recognize at least 2 of these in your own driving. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. For those of you new here, I'm Jimmy Grills. I'm a top 2% iRacer, and I've spent years coaching thousands of drivers at every single level. And after all of that, these are the 4 patterns I see over and over again. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna walk you through all 4 of these hidden time killers. And as we go through them, I want you to notice which ones feel familiar, because each one costs you 1 to 3 tenths a lap on their own. They don't just add up, they compound. So stack all 4 and you could be leaving close to a second or more on the table every single lap, just from habits you didn't even know you had until now. So let's expose them one by one. Killer number 1 is what I call the staring contest. And here's what's happening. You're looking too close. Your eyes are locked on the track right in front of the car, maybe 5 or 10 meters ahead, and you're essentially reacting to the track as it comes at you. Corners here, turn. Apex is there, clip it. There's the exit, try and track out. Everything feels fast, urgent, and rushed, and you're working harder than you should be the entire lap because every single thing is a surprise. But here's the thing that's actually killing your lap time. Your brain needs roughly 2 to 3 tenths of a second between seeing something and moving your hands in response. So let's say at 100 kilometers an hour, you're covering around 28 meters every second. So if you're looking 5 meters ahead, by the time your brain processes what it's actually seeing, you've already driven way past it. You're not driving the track, you're chasing it, and that is not the position that we want to be in. So let's compare that to looking, let's say 50 meters ahead, 3 to 4 seconds into the future. The corner isn't rushing at you anymore. You see it coming, you read the radius, you plan the entry, and by the time you arrive at the turning point, your hands, they just already know what to do. The track literally just slows down. Same speed, same corner, but it feels like you just bought yourself 2 extra seconds of thinking time. And this is why fast drivers look so smooth. Their eyes are so far ahead that they catch errors before they even become a problem. Carrying a little too much speed, they sense that in the braking zone. The angle is slightly off, they see it before turning and adjust. It's not supernatural car control, it's just looking further ahead. They have more bandwidth to process what's happening. So here's the fix. Force your eyes furthest visible point on the track. During braking, you should already be looking at the apex. At the apex, your eyes should be looking at the exit. And at the exit, you should be scanning ahead to the next braking zone. Your eyes arrive at each point before your car does. Always. Not at the same time, not after, before. Every single time. And the first few laps will feel weird. Your instincts will scream at you to look closer, but that is exactly how you know that it's working. Within the first 5 laps, it will start to feel kinda normal. Within a full session, you'll wonder how you ever drove any other way. And that alone, just this one change, if it's the only thing you take away from this video, you need to implement it. And it's worth upwards of 3 tenths per lap without touching your setup or doing anything else. By the way, if you want to go deeper on this, I break all of this down in my book, Precision Racing, links in the description, but let me keep showing you what I mean because we've got 3 more killers to go. All right, killer number 2, and this is the one that blew my mind when I first truly understand it. I call it the grip shrinker, and yes, the name could be better, but it explains why aggressive drivers are often slower than smooth drivers, even when they feel like they're trying way harder. Here's the concept. Imagine your car has 100 units of grip, and that's your total budget spread across all 4 tires. In a straight line, these units are roughly even. Brake and they shift forward, turn and they shift to the outside. That part most people just understand intuitively, and fair enough. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about unless you've been told it. When grip transfers from one tire to another, the total amount of grip actually goes down. The tire gaining load doesn't gain grip fast as the tire losing load loses it. So the math doesn't add up anymore. It's not 100, it's 96 or 93, or in extreme cases, even less. And that loss scales with how violent the transfer is. Smooth brake release might cost you 1 unit of total grip, but a violent release, completely dropping the brakes, the nose lifts, the rear squats, the suspension bounces, trying to settle, and while all this is happening, you're hemorrhaging grip. 7 or 8, 9 units completely gone. Not because you exceeded the limit, but because you moved the weight too fast for the car to be able to handle it. Think of it like a cup of water on your dashboard. Initial D fans will love this, right? With smooth inputs, you get gentle ripples and they'll settle quickly. But if you stamp on the brakes, that water goes everywhere. And until it settles, your grip is compromised. Same car, less grip just from how you used the pedals. And this is where smooth is fast finally clicks. It's not about being gentle, and it's definitely not about going slow. It's about matching your input rate to what the car can absorb. A fast input can absolutely be smooth and a slow input can be rough. The difference is whether the weight moves once and settles or it keeps sloshing. The fix: every input, brake, throttle, steering, ask yourself, am I managing the weight or am I sloshing it, for a lack of a better term? Once you start asking that question though, you won't be able to stop, and that's what you want to be doing. But here's the thing, even if your inputs are perfectly smooth, there's another habit that catches almost everyone, and this one is genuinely counterintuitive. Killer number 3 is what I call the overcorrection trap, and honestly, this one might be the most frustrating on the list, because the fix is the exact opposite of what your instincts tell you to do. Here's the scenario, right? You're mid-corner, the car starts to push, the front goes wide, and you're definitely not making the apex. So what do? Genuinely, think about it. What would you do in this situation? Obviously, you add more steering, right? Keep cranking it, more lock, come on, turn. And you keep pushing, you keep going, but the car just keeps going wider, and you keep turning your hands almost fully turned over, and the car's just onto the gravel at this point. There's nothing you can really do. You're white knuckling it, fighting the car the entire corner, and the front end, it just won't bite. You've felt this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And here's what's actually happening, and this is the part that changes everything. Your tires, they have an optimal slip angle. I'm sure you've heard this before. And there's a specific range where they generate maximum grip, somewhere around 6 to 10 degrees. Below that range, the tire isn't working hard enough, but above it, and this is key, adding more angle produces less grip. More angle, less cornering force. So you're caught in this vicious cycle. More steering, less grip, more understeer. And the harder you try, the worse it gets. And the whole time you're thinking, why won't this car just turn? The car's doing exactly what the physics say it should. You're just asking the tires for something that it literally can't give you. And the fix sounds insane, but you need to try it. When the car understeers mid-corner, take out 5 to 10 degrees of steering, even fully straighten the wheel temporarily. And I know you're already understeering, and I'm telling you to steer less, but what you're actually doing is bringing the slip angle back down towards the peak, back to where the tires generate maximum force. And in a lot of cases, the car will bite immediately. Tighter line, less steering angle, feels like magic, but it's just the physics. The permanent fix is usually correcting what caused the understeer in the first place. Too early a turn in, the wrong line, not enough trail braking. But once you feel that front end bite when you expected it to push, you'll never go back to cranking the wheel again. All right, so we've talked about vision, grip, and steering, but there's one specific moment in every corner where most drivers throw everything away, and it happens so fast they don't even realize it. Killer number 4, the brake cliff. And if you've ever had that feeling where the car just won't rotate a turn in, like that front end goes dead exactly when you need it most, this is probably why. Here's what most developing drivers do. They brake hard in a straight line. Good, fine, good job. And then right before they turn in, they just let go. All at once, full pressure to 0, like flipping a light switch, and they steer into the corner and wonder why it feels like it's made of wood. During that hard braking, you did something really useful. You compressed the front suspension and loaded the front tires with grip. You had 40 or 45 of your 100 grip units on the front, exactly where you want them. But when you snap off the brakes, all of that stored energy releases at once. The nose of the car, it rises up and weight shifts to the back. And if the weight's on the back, the front tires go from heavily loaded to barely loaded right at the exact moment you're asking for them to turn the car. It's like leaning onto a door with your shoulder and someone yanks it open. You stumble forward because the thing you were pushing against just disappeared. And that's what your front tires experience when you just drop the brakes. And the result is understeer and turn in that feels like it's the car's fault. You're thinking the setup is terrible, the front end has no grip, but it had grip, you just took it away at the worst possible moment. Now compare that to what fast drivers do. Instead of this cliff, instead of this instant drop, their brake release looks like a ram. They're still on the brakes as they begin to steer, releasing gradually as the steering angle increases. And that's basically the foundation of trail braking. You're keeping the front tires loaded through the entire their rotation phase. By the time you're fully off the brakes, cornering force has taken over and the fronts never go light. Think of it like a dimmer switch instead of a light switch. You're fading the brakes off while fading the steering on. And here's how to feel this immediately. Pick one corner and focus entirely on how you release the brake. Not where you brake or not your line, just how you let go. And try to make your brake trace look like a descending ramp instead of a cliff. Within 3 or 4 laps, you'll feel the car rotate so much better. Your minimum speed will come up and it feels like suddenly you have the front grip that you were looking for this whole time, because you stopped throwing it away. But I've got to be honest with you, there's actually a 5th habit. And I say this for last because it's different from the other 4. Those 4 are about what you're doing wrong. This one is about why you can't figure out what you're doing wrong. It's the reason that the other 4 never get fixed, and once you have this, everything else on the list becomes solvable. I call it the guessing game, and it keeps you stuck longer than any of the others because it's the thing that prevents you from fixing everything else on this list. Here's what it looks like. You go out for a session and a corner doesn't feel right, so you try something different on the next lap. Brake a little earlier. That didn't work. Okay, turn in later. Still not great. Maybe add some more steering. Maybe less throttle, maybe a wider line, and you're just changing stuff randomly, hoping that something sticks, and occasionally something does, but you have no idea why it works, which means you can't replicate it, and you definitely can't apply that lesson to the next corner or the next track. That's the guessing game, and it's the single biggest reason that drivers plateau, not because they lack skill, not because they need a better setup, but because they don't have a system for diagnosing what's actually wrong. So let me give you one. It's 4 questions and you run through them every time a corner goes wrong. Question 1, what is the car doing? And I mean specifically, not it feels bad, the car sucked. Is it understeering, oversteering? When exactly? Entry, mid-corner, or exit? Because entry understeer is a completely different animal than exit understeer, even though they feel similar from the cockpit. Number 2, what am I doing? Be brutally honest and not what you mean to do, what you actually did. Were you still on the brakes? How much steering angle did you have? Were you already on the throttle? Your inputs at the exact moment that the problem occurs. That's the key to the whole diagnosis. Question 3, what's the one thing that I'm going to change? Only one, not 3, not everything, one variable. If the car understeers at entry and you were off the brakes at turn in, okay, hold the brakes 10 feet deeper on your next lap. Just that, nothing else. And question 4, the one that everyone skips, what do you expect to actually happen? You need to make a prediction before you go back out. Holding the brakes deeper will keep the fronts loaded and maybe reduce the understeer. Now, you're not just trying stuff, you have a hypothesis. You're thinking like an engineer, not a gambler. And if your prediction is right, you've confirmed the diagnosis. Great, now you know exactly what was wrong. And if it's wrong, that's still progress because you've ruled out one cause and you're closer to the real one. Either way, you're learning. Compare that to the approach of guessing, where you change 3 things at once and have absolutely no clue what change did what. And over time, something incredible happens. The loop gets faster. You start recognizing patterns, you feel entry understeer, and you know it's just your brake release timing without even running through the questions consciously. That's the shift from reactive to intuitive, but the intuition only develops because you ran the conscious loop hundreds and hundreds of times first. There's no shortcut to that. So now you have the full picture, the staring contest, the grip shrinker, the overcorrection trap, the brake clip, and tying them all together, the guessing game. But here's the thing nobody talks about, and this is the real insight. These 5 killers don't just add up. They create a chain reaction. Think about how this plays out in a single corner. Your vision is too close, so the turn-in point rushes at you. You panic a little, steer abruptly. There goes 7 grip units. Your budget just shrank. Now you snap off the brakes because the corner's right there. You had no time to trail, and there goes your front load. You turn in, the car pushes wide because the fronts are unloaded, so you crank on more steering in a desperate hope to make it turn. Slip angle goes past the peak, more understeer, you run wide, and afterwards you're sitting there thinking, was that the setup? Should I have braked earlier? Maybe I need more front wing. And you change 3 things for the next lap, none of which were the actual real problem. One bad habit triggered the next, which triggered the next, and a chain of bad stuff happened. But here's the beautiful part. Fix one link and the whole chain starts to break. Push your vision forward and suddenly you have time to plan your inputs. Your inputs get smoother because they're not panicked. Smoother inputs mean more total grip. More grip means less understeer. Less understeer means no overcorrection. And when you do hit a problem, 4-question loop tells you exactly what to change and why. So you fix it in 2 laps instead of 20. It all starts with awareness and now you have it. And if you want to go deeper on this, and I mean really master the fundamentals from the ground up, I cover all of this and way more in my book, Precision Racing. We break down the physics of grip and weight transfer, the complete trail braking system, diagnostic frameworks, vision technique, all of it in a way that builds on itself so you actually understand why things work, not just what they do. Honestly, it's the stuff I wish someone had told me when I first started out. So links in the description if you want to check it out. But another thing that I noticed is that most people are actually holding the steering wheel wrong. So if you want to check that out, you can watch this video here.